If you're curious about the news in the Korean bio market, please subscribe to Bio TV. Hello, my name is Juri Hwang and I will be delivering Korea's biotech issues just for you. Today we will summarize the current status of Seagen, Hanmi, and COVID-19 treatments and vaccines in Korea. Seagen, a company specializing in molecular diagnostics, have achieved the largest ever performance. Seagen recorded $362 million in sales and $175 million in operating profit in the first half. This is a threefold increase in sales and ninefold increase in operating profit compared to last year. From the beginning of the COVID-19 incident, it developed a diagnostic reagent called Allplex. Allplex was able to dominate the market and advance on February 12th with emergency approval from the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. Currently, Seagen exports COVID-19 related products to about 70 countries. More than 500 diagnostic equipments were also sold in the first half of this year alone. It's about twice the annual growth rate of last year. The diagnostic equipment can be applied not only to COVID-19 but also to diagnosis of other diseases, which will provide a basis for the company's sales growth even for post-COVID-19 incidents. The outlook for Seagen in the second half of the year is also very bright as the flu and COVID-19 are expected to be in vogue in the Northern Hemisphere this winter. As it became difficult to distinguish the flu from COVID-19, Seagen announced its plans to release a diagnostic kit that can distinguish the flu from COVID-19. Hanmi Pharmaceuticals succeeded in exporting 1 trillion won worth of new drug technology. On August 4th, Hanmi announced that it has signed a contract to transfer the right to develop, manufacture, and commercialize the BioNews drug candidate, the lab's GLP glucagon dual agonist, to MSD in the US. Under the deal, Hanmi will receive up to $807 million, including $10 million in milestone. Dual agonists are candidates for treatment of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. It is a double-acting treatment that simultaneously activates GLP-1. It is applied to Hanmi's own drug effectiveness-based platform technology called Lebscovery. Dual agonist was once considered a failed candidate for the new drug. The revival of the once-rejected candidate material was due to a shift in ideas. MSD predicted that dual agonists would be effective in treating NASH, which is a metabolic disease of the same family of obesity and diabetes. In January, Hanmi unveiled the results of phase 2 clinical trials it had conducted with Janssen at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. A representative for Hanmi said that they have decided to develop a new NASH treatment drug with MSD by controlling obesity and diabetes at the same time. The export is expected to dispel concerns over the return of technology to Hanmi. So far, Hanmi has 11 contracts for technology export of new drug candidates. The total size of contract amount to $6.7 billion. However, 5 of them were terminated. It also shows the difficulty of developing new drugs with only 0.04% chance of getting final approval for sales in the discovery of basic candidate materials. Korean pharmaceutical and bio companies are nearing double-digit clinical approval for new COVID-19 infections. According to the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety, a total of 9 cases of COVID-19 treatment and vaccine clinical trials conducted by Korean pharmaceutical and bio companies were approved. In August, GXI7 clinical trials were added to the COVID-19 treatment of Daignostic. Daignostic is the only Korean company to conduct both therapeutic and vaccine clinical trials. GXI7 is a genetic recombinant human interleukin-7 drug that Daignostic is developing as a new anti-cancer drug. GXI7 is an immune booster that increases autoimmune ability by proliferating immune cells of people infected with COVID-19. It is a mechanism that suppresses the growth of the COVID-19 virus and prevents it from developing into critical condition or helps with recovery. Daignostic has been approved for the clinical trial of the COVID-19 treatment of GXI7 in the United States before Korea. The number of COVID-19 drug trials has increased to 8 in about 4 months since Pugang Pharmaceutical received its first approval among South Korean companies on April 14. Livover, the first to start clinical trials, is undergoing phase 2 clinical trials at 8 hospitals nationwide. The second phase of clinical trials will be completed by October, and if the efficacy and safety are verified, the KFDA can approve the emergency use. Following Pugang and Antikim Life Sciences, Shinpung Pharmaceuticals and Chonggundang Crystal Genomics and Daeung Pharmaceuticals won clinical second phase approval in turn. Crystal Genomics and Daeung have started developing treatments for Camostat. Camostat is a component that has drawn attention as COVID-19 virus-related effects have been published in the world-renowned journal Cell, and is an antiviral drug that removes or weakens the action of viruses that enter the body. The only company that has started clinical trials with the new drug development method is Celltrion. The company plans to complete the first phase of its antibody treatment drug with the third quarter and immediately enter the second and third phases of global clinical trials to secure interim results by the end of this year. The manufacturing process for clinical trials of COVID-19 blood device medicine, which is currently being developed by GC Green Cross, has been completed and is expected to start clinical trials soon. GC Green Cross submitted its clinical trials plan on April 29th. It is expected that it will be commercialized as soon as possible among COVID-19 treatment that are being developed in Korea. Well, that's it for today's news. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and set your alarms. We'll be back with the issues of the Korean bio industry very soon.